everybody, and welcome back to our English grammar lessons. Today we're going to talk about the relative clauses. So relative clauses are clauses that give us some information about one element of the sentence before, okay? And relative clauses can be divided into two groups, okay, in English. So defining and non-defining. Relative clauses are defining when they are necessary to identify the element I'm talking about. They are non-defining when they give us extra information about that element, but they aren't important in order to identify that element. Okay, now I am making a few examples and you'll understand what I mean. So, the woman who lives next door is a doctor. Okay, the woman is a doctor is the main clause. Who lives next door is the relative clause. So, is this relative clause necessary to identify the woman? Yes, it is, definitely. Because if I say the woman is a doctor, I won't be able to understand who I'm talking about. Okay, so it is absolutely necessary for the identification of the element, okay, I'm talking about in the sentence before. And the sentence before, in this case, not always, in this case is the main clause. But if I say Mary, who lives next door, is a doctor. Mary is a doctor is always the main clause, and the relative clause is always who lives next door. But there is a huge difference. In this case, the element Mary, okay, is already identified. If I say Mary is a doctor, I'm perfectly aware of who Mary is, okay? So my relative clause in this case isn't necessary to identify that element. It is some extra information, okay? I could eliminate it and I would anyway know whom I'm talking about, okay? In this case, it's a non-defining, right? So, it is important to remember this difference because we form relative clauses differently, okay, whether they are defined depending on the fact that they are defining or non-defining. Let's see what I'm talking about. First of all, for relative clauses which are defining, so first of all, I won't use commas. You see here, there is no commas. Okay, it's a mistake, okay, syntax if I put commas here. Then, relative pronouns, okay, in this case for defining relative clauses are three, okay, they're who for persons, okay, whom, whether, if it is an object, if he or she is an object, which for things, and that for both people and things, okay? So we have these three pronouns, who for people, which for things, and that for both, okay? Then, this is the most tricky rule, pay attention. The personal pronoun, so who, which, or that, is eliminated when it isn't the subject of the relative clause, when it is object. Let's make an example. If I say, the woman I wanted to see is a doctor. Main clause is always the same as before, okay, the woman is a doctor. But in this case, I wanted to see, the woman I wanted to see. The subject of the verb in the relative clause, which is wanted, obviously, the subject is I in this case, right? So it isn't the personal pronoun. In this case, I can't use that or whom or whatever. I have to eliminate the personal pronoun because it isn't the subject of the relative clause. This is why I just put, okay, the relative clause without personal pronoun. The woman I wanted to see is a doctor. Always without commas because it's defining, okay? Now, I don't care about personal pronouns because I have to eliminate them, okay? Because they are object, and not subject. If you have a doubt about that, just think about the verb in the relative clause, okay? Who is the subject of the verb? Now, in this case, I have my subject, which is expressed. I always have to express, to put the subject in English, okay? So if you have another subject in the relative clause, obviously the pronoun isn't the subject, it is object, okay? So you have to eliminate it, all right? Another example. Do you know the woman? In this case it's a question, but it's exactly the same. Do you know the woman Tom is talking to? Well, right, in this case we've got a verb that requires a preposition, the preposition to, all right? So in this case the preposition goes to the end of my clause, of the relative clause. I don't have the pronoun again, okay, because my subject is Tom, okay, the subject isn't the pronoun is an object, so I have to eliminate it, okay. Do you know the woman Tom is talking to? Okay, so the preposition is at the end of the sentence. Or I don't know, the bed I slept in is very comfortable. The bed is very comfortable is the main clause. I slept in, okay, is the relative clause. In this case it's defining, because if I say the bed is very comfortable, I don't know which bed I'm talking about, okay? And in this case the relative clause has a preposition in. I slept in the bed. So I eliminate the personal pronoun because it isn't subject, okay? The subject is I, is the personal pronoun I again. So the bed I slept in is very comfortable, right? So the preposition is at the end of my relative clause. Now, this is quite clear, and most of the times when we have some English exams or exercises, we have to form relative clauses which are defining, because they want us to know that we have to eliminate the pronoun when it isn't subject. But pay attention, it is completely different if you have to form a non-defining relative clause. Because in this case, okay, first of all, you have to put commas. You see here, Mary, comma, who lives next door, comma, again, is a doctor. Okay, so commas are compulsory. You can't use that, the personal pronoun that. You have to use who for people, which for things. By the way, for non-native speakers, pay attention to the spelling of which. Okay, it's W-H, okay, I-C-H, okay, don't forget about the first H. Now, you can't use that, so you can only choose, okay, between who and which. But most important thing, you can't eliminate the personal pronoun as we did before, okay? This third rule here doesn't exist anymore. You have to put your pronoun even if it is object, even if it isn't subject, okay? So, example, Mary, all right, comma, whom I wanted to see, comma, again, is nice. Mary is nice is obviously the main clause. Whom I wanted to see is obviously the relative clause. It is non-defining because this is extra information. If I say Mary is nice, okay, the subject in this case is already identified, okay, it's not necessary that I wanted to see her, to see that she is nice. We already know who we are talking about. So, in this case it's a non-defining, I put commas, I can't use that. I could never say, Mary, that I wanted to see is nice. It should be a huge mistake, so I can't use that in this case. Obviously, I can't use which because she is a person, okay, she's a woman, a girl, anyway, but this is obvious. But I can't use even that because it's a non-defining, it's my rule number 2. And important thing, I can't eliminate it even if it isn't the subject. Subject is I again, okay, subject I wanted is I, okay, but in this case I can't eliminate my personal pronoun because it's a non-defining, relative clause. Okay, so you will notice that the personal pronoun who, okay, that we use for people, has this other form whom. When it is object, it will be especially used for non-defining relative clauses, because it is object. Okay, I can't use that, and so obviously I'm going to use whom. In this other case, in defining relative clauses, well, I would just eliminate it, so I won't find whom a lot. In this other case, I will find it every single time I'm talking about a person, which is an object, who is an object, and I obviously can't use that in order to express, okay, the personal pronoun. So this is the general rule. I'm just resuming it very quickly. So defining are used to give information about the identification, okay, to identify the element I'm talking about. Non-defining relative clauses are just giving extra information, okay. Defining relative clauses don't use commas. Relative pronouns are three, okay, who for people, which for things, and that for both of them. And third rule, when the personal pronoun is an object, okay, with or without preposition, it is completely eliminated. If we have a preposition, it is at the end of the relative clause. On the other side, non-defining relative clauses, well, in this case, I have to use commas. I don't use that, I can never use that, so I use whether, which for things, or who, whom, depending on being subject or object for people, and I can't eliminate the personal pronoun, okay? So this is all. If you have any question, just leave me your comment below, okay, under the video, and please, if you want, leave me your feedback too. If you find it interesting, just subscribe my channel or share this video, okay? The more we are, the better we can work together. I'm here for any special requests, if you have any, and so see you very soon, and thanks for watching. Bye!